Welcome back to the channel. USA coins 69 were just spare change. Well, what if I told you that one of those little dimes, a coin so ordinary and often overlooked, could actually be worth thousands of dollars? Today, we're taking a close look at the United States of America Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 2007, a coin that most people spend without a second thought, but one that can, under the right circumstances, transform into a hidden treasure. Sit back, because this story will take you through its history, its design, its varieties, and the special factors that make some of these dimes incredibly valuable. The Roosevelt dime has been around since 1946, first struck to honor the memory of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. Roosevelt was not only a four-term president but also a leader during the Great Depression and World War II. Beyond politics, he was deeply connected with the March of Dimes campaign, which raised money to fight polio, the very disease he battled throughout his life. The dime was chosen as the coin to honor him because of that connection, and ever since, the 10-cent piece has carried his image. Fast forward to 2007, and the Roosevelt dime remained a staple of U.S. coinage, produced in massive quantities at the nation's mints. On the obverse of the 2007 Roosevelt dime, you'll find the familiar left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. His strong profile is accompanied by the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the date and the mint mark. Depending on where your dime was struck, it might carry a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. The reverse features the iconic torch, olive branch, and oak branch, a design by John R. Sinek that symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength. This classic design has been unchanged since the coin's introduction, a testament to its lasting importance. Now, while the average 2007 dime might only be worth face value, collectors know that the real excitement lies in the details. Dimes from this year come in different forms: business strikes intended for circulation, and special proof strikes made primarily at the San Francisco Mint for collectors. Proof dimes, with their sharp detail, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices, are highly sought after when they are graded at the very top of the scale. Imagine holding a dime that shines like a mirror, with Roosevelt's profile frosted against the brilliant background. It's a miniature work of art, but what truly drives up the value of a 2007 Roosevelt dime isn't just its type, but its rarity within condition and the possibility of unique minting errors. Coins struck in enormous quantities often develop small mistakes during production, and these mistakes are what collectors love. Examples include double strikes, off-center strikes, missing clad layers where the copper core peeks through, or dramatic die breaks. Each error creates a coin that is one of a kind, a piece of U.S. mint history captured forever in metal. Collectors will pay a premium for these because no two error coins are exactly alike. Another factor that adds excitement to the 2007 Roosevelt dime is condition. Most dimes from circulation will show signs of wear, scratches, dull surfaces, and nicks from bouncing around in pockets, wallets, and change jars. However, when a coin is discovered in pristine, mint state condition, the story changes entirely. Coins graded MS-68 or higher by professional grading services are extremely rare, and those can sell for incredible prices at auction. A dime that looks brand new, as though it was just struck yesterday, is a collector's dream. Let's not forget about the proofs from San Francisco. Collectors go wild for flawless proof coins, especially those that display a deep cameo effect, the sharp contrast between the frosted design and the mirrored background. A proof 2007 dime in perfect PR70 condition is not just rare, it's the pinnacle of modern numismatics. These coins are carefully inspected and preserved, and they represent the highest quality the U.S. Mint has to offer. The fun part about the Roosevelt dime series, especially for a modern date like 2007, is that these treasures can still turn up in ordinary places. Imagine fishing around in your car's cup holder, rolling coins from a jar, or receiving change at a store and stumbling upon one of these rare gems without even realizing it. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when you'll uncover something that could be worth far more than its tiny denomination suggests. Collectors all over the world keep their eyes open for modern coins like the 2007 dime because they know that condition, rarity, and error varieties can transform an ordinary piece of change into an extraordinary collectible. It's a reminder that in the world of coins, it's not just the old, classic pieces that command value. Even modern issues, if they meet the right conditions, can climb to remarkable heights in the collector's market. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the real shocker when it comes to this humble dime. While most 2007 Roosevelt dimes are only worth 10 cents, certain rare examples, particularly those in top condition or with extraordinary minting errors, have been valued at an unbelievable $30,000, yes, $30,000 for a single Roosevelt dime struck in 2007. It's a reminder that every coin in your pocket has a story, and some stories are worth far more than their face value would ever suggest. Today, we are taking a close look at the United States of America Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 2016. At first glance, this coin may seem like just another modern dime, easy to overlook, but the truth is, some rare examples of this coin have shocked collectors and brought incredible prices in the coin market. The Roosevelt dime has been an American classic since 1946, created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt after his death in 1945. Roosevelt was admired for guiding the nation through both the Great Depression and World War II, but he was also remembered for his battle with polio and his support of the March of Dimes campaign, which worked to fight that very disease. Because of that connection, the dime was chosen to bear his portrait, and since then, it has remained unchanged in design for decades. By the time we reached the year 2016, the Roosevelt dime was still going strong, struck by the millions every year at different U.S. mint facilities. On the obverse, or front, of the 2016 dime, we see Roosevelt's familiar left-facing profile. His name is not written, but his strong image speaks for itself. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," appear beside him, along with the year and the all-important mint mark. Depending on where the coin was struck, you may find a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. That tiny mint mark can mean everything to a collector, because it identifies the origin of the coin and sometimes determines how rare it is. On the reverse, the classic torch stands tall in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. This combination symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength, a design by John R. Sinek that has endured for generations. Now, you might be thinking, since 2016 was not so long ago, surely every dime from that year is just ordinary pocket change. But here is where the world of coin collecting gets exciting. Even modern coins like the 2016 dime can hide extraordinary secrets. Their value doesn't just come from their age, it comes from rarity, condition, and unusual features that make them stand out. One of the biggest factors is condition. Think about it, most dimes that pass through our hands get scratched, scuffed, and worn down quickly. They tumble around in pockets, cash registers, jars, and wallets, picking up tiny marks that lower their grade. However, a dime that has somehow survived in flawless, mint state condition, perhaps one saved straight from a mint set or carefully preserved, can be a true gem. Coins graded at the very top of the scale, like MS-68 or MS-69, are extremely rare. A perfect MS-70 is almost unheard of, and when one shows up, collectors will pay extraordinary sums to own it. Then there are the proof coins from San Francisco. Proof dimes are not intended for everyday circulation, they are struck with special dies, multiple times, creating a sharp, mirror-like finish that sparkles with detail. A 2016 Roosevelt dime in proof condition with deep cameo contrast is a miniature piece of art. When graded PR70, the highest possible grade, these coins stand as the pinnacle of perfection. Collectors chase them not only for their beauty but for their rarity, and when they come up for auction, the bidding can be intense, but perhaps the most exciting aspect of the 2016 dime is the possibility of minting errors. Even with modern technology, mistakes happen at the US Mint, and those mistakes create coins that are one of a kind. Imagine finding a 2016 dime with an off-center strike, where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, or a double die error, where the lettering shows ghostly doubling. There are also missing clad layer errors, where the outer layer of the coin didn't bond properly, exposing the copper core beneath. Each of these errors makes the coin unique, and collectors are always eager to pay a premium for something no one else has. What makes modern errors even more fascinating is that they can still slip into circulation. You could pick up a handful of change from a store today and unknowingly hold one of these rare treasures. That's the magic of coin hunting. Ordinary people have the chance to discover something extraordinary right in their own pockets. Collectors know that the Roosevelt dime, despite its common appearance, holds endless possibilities. The 2016 dime in particular has captured attention because of these rare high-grade examples and unusual errors. While most are only worth 10 cents, the rarest examples tell a very different story, and here's the part you've been waiting for. Some 2016 Roosevelt dimes, especially those in pristine, top-graded condition or with remarkable mint errors, have reached values that will leave you stunned. The highest reported value for one of these rare 2016 dimes is an incredible $36,000, yes, you heard that right, $36,000 for a coin you might still find in your change today. That's the beauty of coin collecting, the thrill that something so small, so ordinary, can hold the potential to be worth a life-changing amount. Today, we are taking a closer look at one coin that most people spend without a second thought, the United States of America Roosevelt one dime from the year 1980. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a small piece of change worth just 10 cents, but in the world of coin collecting, some examples of this dime have stunned collectors and sold for astonishing amounts of money. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this humble little dime can actually become a hidden treasure, and I'll reveal the jaw-dropping value that a rare one has brought. The Roosevelt dime has been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage since 1946. It was first introduced as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Roosevelt wasn't just remembered for leading the country through the Great Depression and World War II, he also had a very personal connection to the fight against polio. His support for the March of Dimes campaign, which raised money to combat the disease, made the dime the perfect denomination to honor his legacy. From the moment the coin was first struck, his portrait has appeared on the obverse, or front, of every dime produced since. Now, let's focus on the year 1980. By this time, the Roosevelt dime was well established, and millions were struck at the U.S. mints. In fact, dimes from this year were produced at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, which used a P mint mark for the very first time on dimes starting in 1980, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S for proof issues. That makes 1980 an especially important year in the series, because before then, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at all. Collectors immediately recognized that change as significant, and today, the 1980 dime holds a special place because it marked the beginning of the P mint mark tradition on dimes. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find Roosevelt's familiar left-facing portrait with the inscriptions, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, along with the year and the mint mark. On the reverse, you'll see John Sinek's classic design of the torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength. Together, they form a design that has remained unchanged for decades, a powerful symbol of American values. But here's where things get interesting. While millions of these coins exist, the ones that truly matter to collectors are the ones in exceptional condition or with unique errors. Condition is everything in the coin world. Think about how most dimes are treated: they get passed around, tossed into jars, scratched against other coins, and worn down through years of circulation. By the time you see them today, most 1980 dimes look dull and tired. However, when a dime from this year has survived in pristine condition, shiny, sharp, and virtually flawless, it becomes a rarity. Coins graded MS-67 or higher are extremely hard to find, and their value skyrockets when they appear at auctions. Then there are the proof coins from San Francisco. These dimes were struck using polished dies and specially prepared planchets, producing mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. A 1980 S-proof Roosevelt dime with a deep cameo effect, where the frosted design contrasts beautifully against the mirrored background, is a collector's dream. When graded PR70, the highest possible grade, such coins become absolute treasures. We also can't ignore minting errors. Even in the modern era, mistakes happen at the U.S. Mint, and error coins are among the most collectible items in numismatics. A 1980 Roosevelt dime could have been struck off-center, double-struck, or even missing its clad layer, exposing the copper core underneath. These errors turn ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind rarities, and collectors pay big money for them. Each error tells its own story, making these dimes more than just currency. They're historical accidents frozen in time. The year 1980 stands out for another reason: the debut of the P mint mark on Philadelphia dimes. Because of this, collectors pay special attention to the Philadelphia issues from that year. Having a flawless 1980 P dime can be especially valuable because it represents the very first in the long line of P mint mark Roosevelt dimes. For serious numismatists, that historical significance adds another layer of desirability. What makes the hunt for valuable 1980 dimes so thrilling is the fact that they are still out there. They were minted in the millions, and while most are worth only face value, there's always the possibility that one sitting quietly in a coin jar or circulation roll could turn out to be a gem. Imagine going through your spare change and discovering a dime that looks brand new, one with a sharp strike, blazing luster, and no signs of wear. That could be the difference between 10 cents and a life-changing sum. Collectors know that modern dimes can surprise everyone. While many people assume only older coins are worth big money, the truth is, even relatively recent dates like 1980 can hold extraordinary value in the right condition. That's why coin roll hunting, attending auctions, and carefully examining your change are all part of the excitement of this hobby. And now, we come to the moment you've been waiting for: the actual value that a rare 1980 Roosevelt dime has reached. While the vast majority of these coins are worth only a dime, certain rare examples in spectacular condition or with remarkable minting errors have sold for as much as $44,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $44,000 for a dime struck in 1980. It's hard to believe that something so small, something so often ignored, could carry such tremendous value. But that's the magic of coin collecting. Ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures, and the next one could be in your pocket right now. Today we're going to dive deep into the story of the United States of America Roosevelt dime from the year 1985, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary but has surprised the numismatic world with examples that reached staggering values. By the end of this journey, you'll see why a coin you may think is worth just 10 cents could actually be a small fortune waiting to be discovered. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who had passed away the year before. His portrait was chosen not only because of his leadership during tough times but also because of his personal connection to the March of Dimes, a campaign that raised money for polio research and eventually helped to eliminate the disease in America. That historical tie makes the dime one of the most meaningful coins in American coinage, linking money in your pocket directly to a fight that changed the course of public health. Fast forward to 1985, and the dime had already been part of American life for decades. Millions upon millions were produced that year, struck at different U.S. mint facilities. Philadelphia coins carried the P mint mark, Denver coins carried the D, and San Francisco produced proof coins with the S. Each mint mark tells a story, and for collectors, these small letters can make all the difference in determining rarity and value. On the obverse of the 1985 dime, you'll find the familiar left-facing profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. The inscriptions read "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the year of issue and the mint mark. On the reverse, the dime proudly displays the torch of liberty in the center, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. It's a small coin, but its design carries a deep symbolism that reflects America's values. Now, while millions of 1,985 dimes were minted, most of them are worth only their face value today. They've been handled, circulated, worn down, and carry the marks of everyday use. However, a small number of them exist in pristine condition, and those are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. When a coin is preserved in mint state condition, sharp strike, blazing luster, and no signs of wear, it becomes highly desirable. Some of these dimes, graded MS-67 or even MS-68, are incredibly rare and can fetch impressive prices at auction. And then there are the proof coins from San Francisco. These coins were specially made for collectors, struck on polished planchets with precision dies to create mirror-like finishes and sharp, frosted details. A 1985 S. Roosevelt dime in perfect proof condition with deep cameo contrast is an absolute beauty to behold. Coins graded PR70 are nearly flawless and sit at the very top of the grading scale, making them highly valuable in the eyes of serious collectors, but what really excites collectors are the errors. Even in modern minting, mistakes can and do happen. In 1985, some dimes were struck with fascinating errors. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double strikes where the design appears twice, or missing clad layers exposing the copper core beneath the surface. These errors transform an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind piece, and collectors are willing to pay big money to add these rarities to their collections. Another factor that drives the value of the 1985 dime is its scarcity in higher grades. While the coin itself isn't rare in circulation, finding one that has survived untouched for nearly 4 decades without scratches, wear, or blemishes is incredibly difficult. Imagine sifting through thousands of dimes and finally spotting one that shines like the day it left the mint. That's the kind of thrill that keeps collectors searching. What makes this hobby so fascinating is that treasures like these can still be found in circulation today. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, Roosevelt dimes are still in use, and it's entirely possible that one hiding in your pocket change could be a rare variety worth far more than you'd expect. Coin roll hunters and collectors know this excitement well. Every dime you check could be the one that changes everything. Think about it, most people wouldn't bother to look twice at a 1985 dime. To them, it's just small change. But to a collector, a sharp eye and a little knowledge can turn that overlooked coin into something extraordinary. And the history behind it, combined with the condition and any unique features, makes these coins more than just metal. They become artifacts of American culture and history. Now comes the part you've been waiting for. While the vast majority of 1985 Roosevelt dimes are only worth 10 cents, certain rare examples with outstanding condition or unusual minting errors have stunned collectors. Believe it or not, one of these small coins has reached a value of as much as $40,000. Yes, that's right, $40,000 for a Roosevelt dime from 1985. It's almost hard to believe that something so tiny and often ignored could be worth such an incredible amount. But that's exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. Ordinary coins can hold extraordinary secrets, and the next one you find could be the key to a hidden treasure. Today we're going to dive deep into the world of the United States of America Roosevelt 1 dime from 1990, a coin that millions of people handled every single day without realizing that certain examples are now considered rare treasures. Stick with me until the end, because you'll be amazed at just how much one of these coins has been valued for. The Roosevelt dime has been an essential part of U.S. coinage since 1946, designed to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt after his death in 1945. His portrait was chosen because of his role in founding and supporting the March of Dimes, a campaign dedicated to fighting polio. The connection between Roosevelt and the dime is both symbolic and historic. It wasn't just about honoring a president but about tying his legacy to the health and well-being of the nation. That's why every Roosevelt dime you see is more than just money. It carries a story of history, perseverance, and progress. Now, let's focus on the year 1990. By this time, the dime had already been in production for decades. The design created by John R. Sinnock was still in use, showing Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse, along with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date. Depending on where it was minted, you'll find a tiny mint mark on the coin. A P stands for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and an S for San Francisco, where proof coins were struck. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the iconic Torch of Liberty in the center, with an olive branch on one side symbolizing peace and an oak branch on the other symbolizing strength. For such a small coin, it carries an enormous amount of symbolism and pride. Most people in 1990 probably never gave a second thought to these dimes as they jingled in pockets, sat in cash registers, or were tossed into jars at home. They were everywhere, and because so many were produced, the average 1990 Roosevelt dime is still only worth 10 cents today. But here's where things get interesting. Within that sea of ordinary coins, there are a few extraordinary survivors. Coins that were struck perfectly, coins that somehow avoided the wear and tear of circulation, coins that exist in rare conditions or with unusual minting errors. Those are the ones that make collectors' hearts race. Collectors place great importance on a coin's condition, something measured by what's called a grade. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1990 dime that has been through circulation, with scratches, nicks, and dullness, won't be worth much. But a coin graded at the top end of the scale, like MS-67 or MS-68, can be highly valuable because so few exist in such pristine states. Think about it, how many coins actually survive in perfect condition after passing through thousands of hands over decades? Very few, and that rarity drives the value sky high. San Francisco proof coins from 1990 add another layer of excitement. These coins weren't made for circulation but were struck for collectors, carefully produced with polished dies and planchets to create mirror-like fields and frosted designs. When graded PR69 or PR70, these proof coins are almost flawless and incredibly desirable. Some collectors will pay large amounts of money to own a perfect specimen from this year, simply because the chance of finding one in absolute perfection is so rare. Then we come to one of the most fascinating parts of coin collecting: mint errors. Errors can make an ordinary coin unique, and unique coins are where the real treasure lies. Imagine finding a 1990 dime with a double strike, where the design appears twice, or an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing. There are also wrong planchet errors, where a dime is mistakenly struck on metal meant for another denomination, or missing clad layer errors that expose the copper core beneath. Each of these mistakes creates a coin that is unlike any other, and collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars to add them to their collections. What makes this journey even more exciting is the fact that coins like the 1990 Roosevelt dime are still in circulation today. That means anyone, you, me, anyone watching, could potentially stumble across one of these valuable pieces. It doesn't take a professional treasure hunter, just an observant eye and a little bit of knowledge. Every dime you pick up has the possibility of being a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. Think about it. You might walk past loose change every day without giving it a thought, but that one dime lying unnoticed on a countertop or sitting in your change jar could be worth thousands. And the thrill of knowing that is what makes coin collecting one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. It's about the possibility that history and fortune could be hiding in plain sight. And now, here's the part that will truly surprise you. While most 1990 Roosevelt dimes remain worth just 10 cents, there have been rare and exceptional examples that shocked collectors. One of these coins, in pristine condition and highly sought after by collectors, has been valued at an astonishing $42,000. Yes, you heard that right, $42,000 for a dime that most people would overlook. It's incredible to think about how much value can be hidden in something so small, so ordinary, and so easily dismissed. That's the magic of coin collecting, transforming the everyday into the extraordinary. So the next time you're handed a dime in your change, take a moment to really look at it. Check the date, look at the mint mark, study its condition, and you might just find that you're holding a piece of history worth far more than its face value. Because in the world of coins, even the tiniest treasures can hold stories, and fortunes, beyond imagination.